It's a very simple reality. Marijuana leads to doing worse things. That's just a fact. I don't care what anybody says, what the debate is.
We've heard that for years, that it's a gateway drug. What do you say to that, Congressman Paul?
Well, I think that's silly. Probably the most addicted drug in the country, in the world, is alcohol. So if you're a consistent person and you think the government should be regulating personal behavior, you have to be for prohibition of alcohol. And when you look back and throughout history and what happened to that was a total disaster. It created the Al Capones.
If you look at the total disaster that's happened with medical marijuana, anybody in the United States can go to California and go find a doctor and buy the marijuana, and simply marijuana is not a medicine.
Cannabis is a natural substance and therefore can't be patented. Anyone with a green thumb can grow it, and so its production could be in the hands of the people, not the corporations that run a $200 billion a year cancer business. It may not be a coincidence that pharmaceutical companies are silently preparing for what could easily become a total revolution in the curing habits of the world's population. GW Pharmaceuticals, a company that specializes in the study and commercialization of cannabinoids, has already established a full-cycle facility in an undisclosed location in the south of England, where they oversee the cultivation of the plant right to the finished medical product.
Growing areas?
This facility grows 30 to 60,000 plants every year. Once the marijuana is ready for processing, it undergoes the same exact treatment for extraction and refinement that is forbidden to regular citizens around the world.
Amazingly, GW Pharmaceuticals, who is this company that has 6 greenhouses in a secret location in the south of England, and each greenhouse has a different strain of marijuana in it. Each greenhouse has 10,000 plants in it. Each of the plants is a clone of the other. So they've standardized this stuff. Now, their product was approved for sale in Canada for treatment of multiple sclerosis, the muscle spasm, and the pain related to that.
And this is a spray?
This is an under-the-tongue spray. And the reason they went with the spray was they felt that they would have a hard time getting by the regulators if they had people smoke it.
In the United States, things are moving fast as well.
Breast cancer kills more than 41,000 American women every year. Researchers in the San Francisco lab are working to shrink that number, and they're doing it with an unusual weapon, marijuana, or at least a compound from it.
And what we found is that this compound called cannabidiol was particularly effective at inhibiting aggressive breast cancers.
I have a lot of faith in pharmaceutical companies and their ability to make money. And I think that if you take a look at what's going on now, first off, you've got an awful lot of basic science that's going on in regards to cannabis and cannabinoids. And some of this research is being paid for by pharmaceutical companies.
We know that this compound extracted from cannabis is non-toxic in patients because it has already been used for different kind of disease.
The benefits may not stop there. Scientists say the cannabis compound may fight other aggressive cancers, including prostate cancer. The next step, animal studies, then clinical trials. So it may be several years before patients may benefit from a cannabis cancer fighter.
Cannabis contains 421 chemicals, more than 60 of which are cannabinoids. Cannabinoids are a unique class of compounds not found anywhere else in nature. A colorful plant with antioxidant activity, cannabis is subject to few predators and has even been utilized as an insect repellent.
It's quite an amazing spectrum of compounds that are in that plant. And what's so unique and incredible about them is they are touching on this incredible system that pervades all of us and regulates everything from, I tell people, cradle to grave, because it's in mother's milk.
Another stress to which pot plants are subject results from their daily exposure to the radiation produced by ultraviolet sunlight. This has created certain unique defenses in cannabis.
Why would this plant have evolved THC, this psychoactive compound? What was the reason for the cannabis plant?
I consider that accumulation of THC give a lot of privilege to cannabis. For example, this plant very resistant to ultraviolet. Extremely.
So it's like a defense against ultraviolet light at this altitude?
Yes.
The same chemical that protects the plant may well have a preventative anti-cancer effect inside the human body, since THC and other cannabinoids are scavengers of disease-causing free radicals.
What our cannabinoid system is evolved to do over many hundreds of millions of years has been to protect us from those kinds of imbalances, to restore the kind of health that we need. And because of our environment in particular, and because we are living longer, we need to be able to adapt very rapidly today. And we can't do that on an evolutionary scale. The way for us to do that as people, as intelligent people, is to make sure we're eating good diets, stay away from toxins, and eat these essential fatty acids, and when necessary, consume cannabinoids.
Modern medicine, under the pharmaceutical-based paradigm, has been looking for targeted therapies. So instead of looking for a medicine that can treat nausea, vomiting, loss of appetite, depression, pain, anxiety, we look for something that can block, this enzyme inside the cell's membrane. And so that's, what we're taught is medicine. The other things are considered snake oil. Anything that can do that many things that effectively makes people a little bit leery.
There are 4 cannabinoid compounds that are of the most interest to scientists doing medical research. Delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol, or THC, is the principal psychoactive ingredient that creates euphoria in the smoker. THC exerts a wide spectrum of biological effects by mimicking the body's own natural endocannabinoids.
If you look in the microscope there, you'll see sort of some glistening golf ball-like structures. And those are the glandular trichomes in the inflorescence of the plant, which contain all the chemicals that we're interested in for making a medicine.
Probably one of the most fascinating cases is a gentleman with the glioblastoma multiforme brain tumor. Very deadly tumor. This tumor, from diagnosis, untreated, the average survival is just 3 months. Fully treated with radiation, surgery, and chemotherapy is about 12 months. So this gentleman is a middle-aged man who began using cannabis at the time of his diagnosis. He's been very consistent in using cannabis on a multiple-time daily basis, now for 7 years without any signs of recurrence.
Faced with this rapidly changing scenario, the Drug Enforcement Administration is trying to modify its official position to allow pharmaceutical companies to market THC without appearing to contradict all the negative information on marijuana they've been propagating for decades.
All available research has concluded that marijuana is dangerous to our health.
The DEA now recognizes the medical qualities of THC, while trying to shift the blame for the prohibition of marijuana to the possible damage caused by the smoke.
How about the pill form that's legalized already?
The pill form is legal for 2 or 3 things: nausea and vomiting of chemotherapy, AIDS wasting, and also for certain kinds of neuropathic pain.
The holy grail for the pharmaceutical industry, and really for the federal government too, is to find the next billion-dollar pharmaceutical, the next billion-dollar drug. And the pharmaceutical industry now knows that these drugs are going to be cannabinoids. They know that the medicinal qualities are there to cure all kinds of medical problems. But I can tell you that the whole plant is uniquely effective. I've yet to find a person in my practice who prefers the prescription pure THC over the natural plant. That just is unheard of in the patients.
Cannabidiol, also known as CBD, is a non-psychoactive component of cannabis that gives the sedative effect to the high experienced. Amongst its numerous functions, CBD has been shown to have anti-inflammatory and analgesic effects. It helps fight diabetes, bacterial infections, and malignant tumors. This compound is also a nerve protectant and has well-documented antipsychotic and anxiety-reducing effects.
There's quite a lot of CBD in that particular one as well, cannabidiol, which is another cannabinoid, a non-psychoactive cannabinoid, which we think is actually a very important component of the medicine. We're fascinated by this stuff, which has tremendous potential as an anti-inflammatory, but also, rather surprisingly, as an antipsychotic.
So, hold on, you're telling me that CBD could be a treatment for psychosis?
Isn't that ironic? With all the